This video goes over solving two-step equations, and we're going to use inverse operations to do this, okay? Just a reminder from the previous video, inverse of addition is subtraction, the inverse operation for subtraction is addition, the inverse for multiplication is division, and the inverse for division is multiplication, okay? So let's think about what's happening to the x. In this case, we've got a negative 2 times x, and we're going to take 5 away from that, equals 17, okay? So when we undo, we want to think about what's happening to x, and we want to undo in the reverse order. So what's happening most closely to x is we're multiplying that times negative 2, and then we're subtracting 5 from that, okay? So I want to add 5 to both sides first. Okay, my first step is going to be to add 5 to both sides, okay? That's going to get negative 2x by itself, and then I'll be able to do a second step, okay? So I know these inverses, these opposites here cancel out. Okay, on the left side, I'm left with negative 2x. On the right side, I'm left with 22. So negative 2x now equals 22, okay? The equation we started with and the equation we have now, these are what we call equivalent, okay? They look different, but they mean exactly the same thing, okay? So this is negative 2 times x now. What's happening to the x is we're multiplying by negative 2. So the inverse of multiplication is division. So I'm going to divide both sides by negative 2, okay? These negative 2's cancel out, and I'm left with x on the left side equal to 22 divided by negative 2. 22 divided by negative 2 is negative 11, so x equals negative 11, okay? Just like before, you always want to check your work. Plug that back in. Negative 2 times negative 11 is positive 22. 22 minus 5 is 17. That's true, so my answer is correct. Okay. The second equation is x minus 7 divided by 3 equals negative 15. Okay, so what's happening to the x? Well, first we're subtracting 7 from the x, and then we're dividing that by 3, okay? So we want to use these inverse operations, and we want to clean that up in reverse order, okay? So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to multiply both sides by 3, okay? What that's going to do, on the left side, those 3's are going to cancel out. So I've undone this dividing by 3 by using inverse operations, multiplying by 3. These 3's cancel out, but whatever I do to the left side, I have to do to the right side. So I'm going to multiply 3 times negative 15, okay? What that gives me is x minus 7 on the left side equal to negative 45 on the right side, okay? So now, inverse operations, this is x subtracted by 7. So the inverse of subtraction is addition, so I'm going to add 7 to both sides, okay? These 7's will cancel out, and that leaves me with x equals negative 38, okay? You can always go back and plug that in, okay? So negative 38 minus 7, that's negative 45, okay? Negative 45 divided by positive 3 is negative 15, so I feel good about that answer. All right, last one here. We got 1/4 times x plus 11 equals negative 9, okay? So what's happening to the x? Well, the first thing is we're multiplying that by 1/4. Then we're adding 11, and that's going to be equal to negative 9. So I want to use inverse operations. I'm going to subtract 11 from both sides first, okay? On the left, these 11's are going to cancel out because they're opposites. So that leaves me with 1/4 x on the left side, and negative 9 minus 11 is negative 20. Okay, like in the previous video, we've got a fraction times a variable. We're going to multiply by the reciprocal, okay? With the reciprocal of 1/4, we're just going to flip it, and that's 4 over 1. So we're going to multiply both sides by 4, okay? On the left side, those 4's cancel out. It leaves me with 1x equals 4 times negative 20, which is negative 80. So x equals negative 80, okay? Plug it back in, always check your work. 1/4 times negative 80 is negative 20. Negative 20 plus 11 is negative 9, okay? So that's how we use inverse operations to solve two-step equations.